Is it most of the way through spring? We still got 3 left, but yeah.
What have you seen from just most of your guys on defense? What's been the takeaway?
You know, one of the goals going into spring is develop 22 starters. That's what we said, and I think it's surprising how many seniors we lost from our second team and how much that knowledge really benefited us. So, you know, we feel good about our first group. There's a lot of experience coming there. The second group and the third group was really a big focus this spring, and they've been coming along. And actually today I saw them jump up in the team periods quite a bit, but that's been a focus, and they've been coming.
Who are those guys in the back end in particular? You mentioned like Morrissey and
so Michael Dowell and Trey Person, Shakur Brown, Dom Long. I know I'm going to miss some names here, but those are some of the guys that have been running with the twos in the back end. You know, it's been Jesslor Boateng and Noah Harvey and Chase Klein, and I'm going to miss some at the next level too. But we got a lot of talent, but not a lot of experience, and that's been the focus. Matter of fact, I'm going to jump in here. We had a team meeting the other day, and I said, if you're on the second defense, stand up. And 12 or 13 actually stood up, which is good. I want them all to believe that. I said, now, stay standing if you played 30 snaps of football at Michigan State University. And there was only 2 still standing. You know, so there's talent, but not a lot of experience, and that's what we've been working on.
How does that play into spots like, you know, replacing Justin and Kari in the back end? I know Josh has got a lot of experience too.
Yeah, Josh has a lot of experience, and, you know, Shakur and Trey have really done a great job this spring. We feel like they're playing like starters. Biggest challenge probably in the back end, and David Dowell's been doing a great job, is replacing Kari's leadership, Kari's football IQ, his ability to do, you know, what I call a Max Bola, and know exactly what every single person on the field needs to know before the snap, and be able to communicate that. And David and Xavier together have been able to put that puzzle together, but there's still some room to match Kari.
Mike, Dom Long, like Greg, the linebacker.
Greg Jones?
Yeah, Greg Jones. Came on early on special teams, just whacking people. Now, I know he's a different position, but have you seen as he's getting more reps outside of special teams, that just that ability to just smack people?
I'm excited about him, actually. This back half of this spring, it's like he finally said, I got this. And we've been able to use him at corner, at safety. He's played a variety of positions in our nickel and dime stuff, so I think he finally is at the point where I got this. And then once you feel that way, those talents that you have can really shine.
Back up, Mike. I know Ed was supposed to be out this spring, but who do you identified as potential guys to fit behind Joe this season and looking for the future?
Yeah, you know what? We've repped a lot of guys at Mike, and that's been something we're still trying to figure out exactly what's right. But let me tell you something. Tyreek Thompson's played an awful lot of Mike, and even Antoine Simmons played some Mike. Noah Harvey's played some Mike. Dante Rosano's played some Mike. We know Ed has the knowledge to do that without a doubt, and he's looking good right now too. But that is definitely something that we don't have the answer to yet.
What about the depth guys, especially on the edge up front? I mean, you know, you got Mike back. With Kenny out, you have some spots there to get guys in.
Right. So with the ones, Jacob Ponashuk and Drew Beasley have been doing a great job. But with those 2 guys both being up with the ones, and holding Camper and Willikis out for the most part, that's given the next set of guys opportunities to really grow. So Jacob Slade has done a really good job. Parks Gissinger came in like a pup because all he was doing was running other teams' defenses, and came in a little undersized, to be honest with you, and he's put on some size and weight. And those 2 guys have gotten a ton of reps and have been doing a good job. And then Brent Mossberg has been in there, and he's got a Willikis type of motor. I mean, he can throw his body around like crazy. And then we got a couple good ones that we signed that we're anxious to see what they're going to bring to the table too.
I know you mentioned Mossberg last year as a guy who could take that next step. I mean, is he a guy that you needed to find that position, kind of like with Kenny, where the motor translates?
Yes. Still trying to put a couple pounds on it. You know, we're still trying to put a couple pounds in the lower body, but he plays that style of football, which you know is Spartan style of football.
When you have the defensive tackles, you have an experience you have with Raekwon and Mike Panashuk, does it make everything else easier?
If the 2 tackles in the middle are great players, yes, it makes everything a lot easier. And that's what I say. I mean, you know, we know in our 4-3 cover 4, corners, safeties, I mean, those are critical positions. But you have 2 D tackles and a Mike with experience and the ability to be dominant football players, you're going to be in pretty good shape against the run.
Is that like baseball up the middle? I say,
Yes,
with the same
absolutely,
thing, same
100%
thing,
it's like that.
Maybe a free safety too.
That's exactly right.
Who's the forward there? Because I mean, you obviously lose Gerald, and you got room for one more guy to maybe.
No
hop in.
doubt. Probably you'd say Jacob Slade at this point, but both Deshaun Mallory and Diari Todd are doing a good job. So we feel like we got a little bit of a depth there. But the three-man rotation that we have, we feel real good about.
You had a ability to kind of have a luxury last year with Boyer, Randall, and Simmons to kind of bring them in because you had that experience. How much do they have to take that up another notch? Because last year they were able to kind of play fast, even if they missed some things.
Right. So, Tyreek Thompson rotated with John Reschke. Antoine Simmons rotated. Brandon Boyer Randall rotated. So now it's just a question of can they have intensity every single snap, and that's always a challenge. And I have no question about that. Antoine has that motor innately. Tyreek actually is a physical kid, play in and play out, but has never had to do it every single play. And Brandon's been a guy that rotates. So the challenge is consistency, not ability, but consistency.
You see that too when you're talking about the depth and the competition for that. How much does it get ramped up when you kind of year in and year out put up the defensive numbers you guys do and kind of build that reputation as sort of defense you are? Does that make the competition even more intense from these guys?
Yeah, I think what it does is the older guys, the veterans, the returning starters really hold people accountable. They are quick to say that's not how we do things around here. But we also talk an awful lot about, when I say we talk, I don't mean the coaches, I mean the players, about the fact that it doesn't just happen. I mean, you need to start over and have that type of mentality every year. It doesn't happen because you're Michigan State Spartans. That's not why we play good defense. It's because of how much we get after, how hard we work, our mentality, and that starts fresh every year.
Mike,
It's all right.
your promotion brought some new responsibilities. How are you enjoying those? Obviously, you were the coordinator, but to add now the assistant head coaching duties is a huge resume booster.
It's a big deal. I mean, it is a big deal, and it's an honor. But working for Coach D'Antonio for as many years as I had, I mean, I have the utmost respect for that man, and be a part of this program in any role is awesome. But yeah, to be the assistant head coach is a big deal, and there are some added responsibilities, so hopefully I can step up.
I know Coach was talking about trying to figure out the ones versus twos, offense versus defense, or kind of draft.
For the spring game you're talking about?
I mean, what did you see in the last couple of years in the benefits of maybe ones versus twos out of necessity and versus maybe the draft to keep guys engaged and motivated?
It's funny you talk about that, and there's some benefits to each. You go ones versus twos, obviously the whole O-line is going to get to work together as an O-line unit. The linebacking core is going to get to work together. The communication that you'll have on a game day is intact. When you draft, there's a whole bunch of guys that get to participate as if they're starters and show what they have. You don't know ones, twos, who's on what team. You're all playing like you're ones. The other hard thing about the draft is the special teams. Now you get your special teams all split up. It's like, oh my gosh, how are we going to do this? But there's benefits to both. What you want to do is bring a lot of energy and a lot of passion out there. So sometimes having that draft brings a little more excitement to the kids, and I'm always a fan of that energy.
Mike, you held some pretty good offenses well below their normal numbers last year. If there's one thing you could add that you didn't have last year to this year's defense, what would it be?
Oh my goodness. That's a heck of a question. If there's one thing you could add. I think we need more negative plays. We were very, very consistent, not giving up many explosives and not giving up that big play, but we need to make more tackles in the backfield, more sacks, more run-throughs, and putting people behind the sticks.
Mike, with Antoine, sorry if you've been asked this, I was a little late coming out here. What is it about him? What does he bring to that position in terms of a skill set, and why has he been able to sort of rise into that open spot from Andrew?
Antoine has great football instincts, great football intelligence. He plays with a natural knee bend where he can really change directions like a cat, and seldom gets himself out of position. So when you're playing that space linebacker, those are great characteristics.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
How much has your day-to-day routine kind of changed since the promotion you got? Is it noticeable now, or do you think it'll come later on?
It's really only the assistant head coach, if that's what you're talking about. The only difference is if the head coach isn't there. So if there's a day that Coach D'Antonio is on the road, or if there's something that he needs someone to step in for, then you step up to the plate. But day to day, it's no different. We're just all grinding.
How did that conversation come about then, for you to get that new role?
Those decisions come from Coach D'Antonio, to be honest with you. And when presented with the opportunity, I'm all in.
Thanks.
Thanks, Coach.